depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio, and I thought, hey, it's Easter weekend. You might even be watching this on Easter Sunday. If you are, have a lovely Easter. I hope you did. And could you do me a favour? Tell me what you did for Easter. Did you do an egg hunt? Did you get an egg? What kind of egg did you get? Let me know in the comment section. Not even joking. Would genuinely love to sit there this evening and read a bunch of comments about what people did at Easter. That will make me happy. But I thought something that I would like to do at Easter, and you might like to do as well, is have a chat about Twilight Masquerade and have a look at all the cards that have been officially revealed in English. Because we're in this weird situation for Twilight Masquerade. We've had some cards revealed. We're not really in the reveal cycle yet for Twilight Masquerade. And yet, we've had a bunch of cards revealed. Weird? Yes. Honestly. Unwelcome? No. No, it's not. Now, there are a couple that you may have forgotten about, and they are the promos. We're going to look at these super quickly. I'm counting them as part of Twilight Masquerade, even though you can't pick them up in booster packs. So we got the really terrible Snorlax, and it is a really terrible Snorlax, unfortunately. 4 energy, 120 on 160 HP basic. You know I love me some Snorlax, right? Huge fan of Snorlax. Both my boys are loving Snorlax at the moment. Snorlax is a favourite in our household. This card is not. The other one is Revavroom, which is, I mean, look, better than Snorlax. I'll tell you that much. And what we've got here is single energy, flip a coin if heads, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon, nobody cares. But 3 energy and you deal 70 damage. But if you've got more cards in hand than your opponent, you do 80 more. Also important to note that this is a metal Pokemon that will hit for weakness on metal weak Pokemon that attacks for colourless energy. That does actually make it a better card. Now the 1-pack blister promos, unfortunately, we can't actually see, which is honestly kind of annoying. They've got a big Lechonk coin covering them up, but luckily they're pretty simple cards and I can read Japanese cards pretty well, so I can tell you that the Toxel specifically is single energy, 30 damage, 30 damage, and this Pokemon does 10 damage to itself. Not particularly great. And then the Pupitar, also gym promo in Japan, single energy 20, and then 2 energy, 60 damage, and it also does 20 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. They're fine. Not really the point of this video, but I thought we'd chuck them in at the beginning. And the reason I thought we need to have a look at this is because Pokemon did something randomly that they don't generally do. They were just like, hey, do you want to see the Perin and Alolan Growlithe cards? The special illustration rare Perin and the illustration rare Hisuian Growlithe. Why? I don't know. Honestly, don't really care. I love that they did it. One thing that was really cool, they showed the Growlithe off on Pokemon TCG, but Perin off on the just Pokemon Twitter account. Weird that they did that, but kind of nice that they did. Obviously, these cards are absolutely stunning, and yes, if you haven't noticed it already or heard me tell you before, they do actually fit together like a bit of a puzzle piece. They are both done by the same artist. They're both done by Ghidorah, but more than that, they are literally connecting cards, which is, I mean, I'm a sucker for connected cards. I really am. So, huge fan of these. They're absolutely brilliant. The Hisuian Growlithe is not actually a relevant card, but 0 energy, discard a stadium in play, or 2 energy, 40 damage plus 10 to itself. Not a relevant card, but it's beautiful. Whereas the Perin potentially is a relevant card. We've got the whole reveal 2 Pokemon from your hand, put them into your deck, and then search your deck for as many Pokemon as you put back. Basically, swap 1 or 2 Pokemon in your hand for 1 or 2 Pokemon in your deck. Tell me that doesn't sound like a pretty fun card. It obviously does. Big fan of this one. I'm not saying it's going to see a gigantic amount of play or anything like that, but I absolutely am saying that it is a decent card that some people are going to want to play with. I was really hoping that seeing these 2 cards would kind of herald the beginning of the proper reveal cycle for Twilight Masquerade, and it didn't. But the fact that they've gone and been shown off is kind of awesome. And look, even if we're not in the proper reveal cycle yet, which makes me a little bit sad, the idea that Pokemon still went out of their way to show these cards because I don't know why not, that's kind of cool, right? But as the set was revealed, they showed us off a bunch of Ogerpon. And I think these cards could be good. Like, legit really good. We've not seen the whole set even over in Japan. We are missing a huge amount of information. We do not know everything we need to know. But we know enough to know that they're interesting. So Teal Mask Ogerpon is clearly the main one here. It's on the front of the booster pack. And as we go through, you'll see this is clearly the main one of them. The ability, Teal Dance, says that once during your turn, you can attach a basic grass from your hand to this Pokemon. And if you attach energy to a Pokemon in this way, you draw a card. So basically, as early as turn 1 going first, you just attach an energy and draw a card. More energy on the field, more cards in hand. And yes, you absolutely can, if you want, try and get a little bit fancy, start playing around with things like Energy Switch. I'm not saying you should. I absolutely am saying you can. It's one of my favourite little tricks with Pokemon that accelerate energy to themselves. Play an Energy Switch so you can get that energy where you need it to be. But then we've also got free energy, 30 damage, plus 30 more for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So you're hitting Grass Weakness, you're punishing your opponent for attaching lots of energy, and of course you can accelerate to yourself. It's fine. It's great if you're hitting Weakness. It's alright. It's not perfect, though. Although, actually, one thing that is pretty perfect, if you've got 3 energy on, which is the minimum, Charizard's always going to have 2 energy on, because that's what they need to attack. So, you're generally going to have 5 energy, but it's 30 base plus 30 for each energy. Let's call it 6. 6 times 30 is 180. Times by 2 with weakness is 360. Oh, look, it's like the perfect damage to KO a Charizard. That is not a coincidence, incidentally. These cards are designed as such. So it is a nice Charizard counter. But then we've also got a very nice item card, Ogre's Mask, which lets you choose a Pokemon EX in your discard pile with Ogerpon in its name, and switch it with one of your Pokemon EX in play that has Ogerpon in its name. Now, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, any of that, all stay. You just get to swap. And obviously what you can do here is use Teal Mask to accelerate energy to itself, and then use Ogre's Mask to switch for some others. And we have been shown all the other 3. Although please bear in mind, this is Ogerpon. Ogerpon's a pretty big deal in Pokemon, right? So let's not be under some assumption that we're never going to get any other Ogerpon EX or anything silly like that. There could absolutely be more, and if there ever are any more, well, you never know. Could work. Now, in terms of the other 3, what we've got here, we've got Cornerstone Mask, the fighting dude, and this has an ability that prevents all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. No, this is not going to block every single Pokemon ever, nor is it intended to. But it absolutely is going to provide a decent amount of protection against a bunch of different decks, and that alone is pretty gosh darn cool. I am a fan of this. And you'll notice the attack cost is 1 fighting, 2 colourless. This is not weird or a coincidence. This seems to be very deliberately designed. Colourless energy means that you can accelerate grass energy with your Teal Mask Ogerpon, and then switch into this with Ogre's Mask, and you just need 1 coloured energy, or might I suggest luminous energy, and then 1 luminous energy, 2 grass, allows you to just switch between your Ogerpon at will and start using different attacks. There are good TCG players that love having the option of these different typings, hitting different weaknesses, using different attacks, that are absolutely salivating at the thought of a deck like this. It's pretty cool, honestly. Now, in terms of what that attack actually does, 140, not affected by weakness resistance or other effects. The not affected by weakness sucks, because fighting is one of the best weaknesses to hit. You get colourless, you get lightning, you get about half of darkness. So it really sucks you're not hitting for weakness. However, the fact that you can go through anything that would be blocking you is kind of cool. Now, Half Flame Mask is your fire one, and you've got 1 fire, 2 colourless, 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So this is your Outrager. And of course, do remember that Magma Basin is still very much a thing. It will accelerate fire energy while damaging you. Of course, you need both for this attack, so that'll work rather nicely. This will fit pretty nicely into fire decks outside of the whole Ogerpon thing. And then free energy, 140 but 280 to an evolution Pokemon, and discard all energy from it. This one does seem better when it is hitting for weakness, not unlike Teal Mask, but there is a bit of potential here. And maybe the best among them is Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. Because, now the single energy, 20 and can't retreat, you'll win games with that. I have legit won, I've been playing for way too long. I have won a bunch of games because I just stopped my opponent retreating and they were out of switching cards and they decked out and I won. It's not how I like to win because I don't like playing control decks, but when I can, I like having something like this in my deck to give me that option because sometimes it'll win me the game. However, Torrential Pump I like very much. Again, we've got 1 color, 2 colorless energy, 100 damage, which is fine, especially if you're hitting for weakness. But you can also shuffle free energy from this Pokemon into your deck and do 120 to the bench as well. I adore this in Baxcalibur decks, where you can accelerate as much energy as you like, because it's better than Radiant Greninja. Radiant Greninja hits 90-90, this hits 100-120. Now, I know Radiant Greninja discards 2 energy and this shuffles 3 back, and I know that Radiant Greninja has that really good draw engine, which this doesn't, alright? But just in terms of the damage that you're doing, this does more damage than Greninja. Although, like I've said, I know there are other factors at play here. And this is a good card, frankly. And it's going to work in water decks, and it's going to work in this. And we don't know if Ogerpon's getting any other support. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. There's already enough to look at this and be a little bit excited. And there could absolutely be a whole bunch more coming in the future. Just putting that one out there. And that's essentially what we've got so far. We've got a few promos. We've got the Perin and Alolan Growlithe combo. And then we've got the Ogerpon stuff. Oh, I should mention, how rude of me, I almost forgot the regular Ogerpon. As a side note, it is extremely likely, not confirmed, but overwhelmingly likely, that the promo for your Elite Trainer box is actually going to be this. But the illustration rare version of it. We've not been shown yet, it's not confirmed, but it's overwhelmingly likely. Single energy, search for 2 basic energy and put them in your hand? No. But 2 energy, 20 damage, plus 20 for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, that ain't too bad. No, you can't switch into it with Ogre's Mask, that only works to switch an EX into an EX. But you can use our old friend Energy Switch. Also, if your opponent benches loads of Pokemon turn 1, and you go second, this energy switch from your Teal Mask EX, and you could be doing as much as 120 turn 1 going second. Putting it out there, this could be a lot of fun. Right, that is all of the cards that have currently been revealed from Twilight Masquerade. So now it's over to you guys. Are you already excited about this set? Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on a channel like the lovely Andrew Kincaid, who is a very lovely person, helped me out with a bunch of stuff in the past, and yeah, awesome dude. So shout out to them for being awesome and for the support. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.